Welcome to a brand new edition of Bleav in Panthers here on Bleav Podcast Networks. I'm your host, Desmond Johnson. I have the pleasure today of being joined not by just the Panthers all-time leading rusher, Jonathan Stewart, but the Panthers all-time leading receiver, and Mr. Steve Smith. Steve Smith's in the house. What's going on? How you doing, man?
Hey, good morning. Good morning. What up, Snoop?
What up, Doc? I'm glad that you're a busy man these days. You're golfing, you're doing golf pods, you're doing golf YouTube videos, with Ironed Out. You got all type of stuff going on. So we really appreciate your time, my brother.
Man,
hey, but look, oh man, Desmond, dog, is a true fan, man. Look, and being on this podcast with Desmond, I've become literally a true Panther fan. Literally, I would have never thought that I would become one. Playing. It's like you feel almost like you're a part of the team, but now I'm so invested that I actually have become a fan because I've been watching for the last several years and hoping and believing in something like a fan, even when it doesn't necessarily hold to be true as far as what's factual and what the depth chart says, what the scoreboard says. But I'm a fan.
So let me ask you, Stewie. Let me ask you, Stewie. What kind of fan are you? Are you?
I'm all hope.
Empty, half empty, or half full type of fan? Because there's different types of fans. So I'm interested to hear what kind of fan Jonathan Stewart.
I am a 3/4 full.
I'm going to speak for him. He's completely full. Like, if the glass is empty, he's going to pretend there's milk in there. Like,
he's a positive Paul, huh?
Yeah, man, I'm hoping I'm over here. I'm over here pushing hope, I'm over here, we got dealers out there, people dealing,
Hopeful Harold.
Negativity. I'm over Hopeful Harold, that's what you call me.
But no, he's serious. Even we've been down.
I'm dead serious, though. But Desmond over here, I have to talk him off the ledge a lot of the time.
Yeah, see, I'm the emotional part of the show. Yeah, I'm the one that rides the wave, and especially becoming a Panther fan like Stu's become the past couple of years, especially the past couple of years, up and down, roller coaster, up and down, up and down. You don't know what's what. And this year in particular, it's like A day, B day in terms of, let's go beat Green Bay at Lambeau, and then let's go lose to the Saints like the next week.
Let's get to that. Let's get to that. So, Smitty, one of the things that I realized, 2005, I was in college. And I actually remember very vividly because I'm in Oregon and y'all come up there to Seattle to play the Seahawks. And, y'all had to battle a lot of injuries going into that game. But towards the end of the season, regular season, I realized y'all started with the Falcons and having to go on this span of winning games, meaningful football, right? Starting in December 4th, y'all had the Atlanta Falcons, y'all win. Tampa Bay, y'all lose. New Orleans Saints, y'all win. Dallas, you lose. Atlanta, you gotta win, and you win that game. Carolina's been on a span here of going win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss for the since week 7, Desmond. I want to get your opinion. As far as just kind of drawing some comparables to like taking you back to when you were in 2005 and just your experience of knowing what teams are supposed to be looking like and what things feel like. What does it feel like, looking at the Panthers team right now going through what they're going through?
So that's a very difficult question to answer. Mm-hmm. One, because I'm no longer in the locker room.
Yeah.
The coaching staff, the general manager, trainers, strength coaches, basically everybody has changed. And what comes with change is a lot of things, meaning personalities, philosophies, points of emphasis. And so I can't really say, or I don't think it's fair to compare, because the most important part, which is the head coach and the players, the head coach and assistant coaches and the players are no longer the same. And each team has a unique personality. Each year they have different highs and lows. And so you can't really compare something, 20 years ago as, well, if we had this, because the game has changed. 2, the climate and what's at stake is a little bit different, right? And when I say what's at stake is there are a lot of things, right? Let's just talk about defensively. There are a lot of things defensively this year that is different. So you got a Chris Gamble type of guy, right? Just comparing. So who is that? J.C. Horn, right? That 2005, I don't know if Ricky Manning was still there yet, Reggie Howard. You had role players who teams weren't, the current team, the Carolina Panthers, back then, it wasn't looked at as, oh no, the backup, or that's not the Chris Gamble type of corner. They took everything that they had and they made the best of it. Right. And it was also a team where they weren't as young. I think that's the part that people don't really recognize. This is a very young team. Yes, they have a few older players, but it's a young team. And with lack of experience, what you generally have is a little bit of success, or a lot of success, and beating teams that no one gave you a chance on. It does something for you. It builds confidence. It builds your psyche, but it also, in building your confidence, it may be at times, because you've been in this position before, Stuart, when you're young and you have success doing it a little bit or a lot, but the end result is success, what are you going to do? You're going to go back to what you know. You're going to go back to, well, when I did this, it was successful. When I did this, it wasn't. So you're a young player trying to figure out things, and then the coaching staff is trying to wrangle them in. But at the same time, they're growing as well. This is Coach Canales. This is only his second year.
Yeah.
Right. So you got what do you say is third?
No, second. This is
second year. Second year.
So you have a lot of growth by a lot of people. And then you got general manager Dan Morgan. It's his, he's just wrapping up his first year. So there's a lot of things that sometimes emotional fans or hopeful fans don't put into the category or the equation of how you got here.
Yeah.
See, I'm hopeful, but I think I'm jaded too. Like I've sat through. I've been the host for Bleav in Panthers for, this is season 6, I think. We've yet to have a winning season. But no, I think I've been through the ringer. I think I've been the curse, because like every year we've done this, we've had a bad season. This is the first December, Steve, since I've been doing this show where we've had meaningful football in Charlotte in December.
Let me cut you off there, because I've heard this from a lot of Panthers fans.
Yeah.
Who was your team before that? Before you?
Oh, Lord have mercy. Here we go.
Yeah.
Hey, brace yourself, ladies and gentlemen.
So I grew up in North Carolina, right? So before the Panthers were here,
look, bro, Desmond, I don't want to hear where you grew up, though.
No, this is
I just want to know what your team is, because I feel like what had happened was you selling me.
Yeah, this is what had happened was
you selling me.
I was a Cowboys fan. I was a Cowboys fan right before we got.
He was a Cowboys fan.
I ain't got no wallet, so I ain't got my credit card.
Early 90s, I was a Cowboys fan right before we got the Panthers in 95.
All right.
Emmett Smith, Troy Aikman, the triplets.
I'm fully aware of Cowboys fans, what century they still live in. So continue.
I wasn't like that was when they were really good. They were actually winning stuff.
They were really good in the 90s, just like the 49ers.
Don't be trying to defend the Dallas Cowboys on this pod.
And then I was a Redskin fan before that, because here, that's what I'm saying. I live here.
You all confused.
No. We didn't have a team. That's what I'm saying. We didn't have a team until 95. So I didn't have a team until I was, 16, 17 years old. So, and the Redskins were the 1 o'clock game here. Like every Sunday, Redskins would play 1, Cowboys would play at 4. So we kind of got indoctrinated into it. As soon as the Panthers were created in 94, 95, I haven't looked back. Panthers, only Panthers, nobody but Panthers. Yeah, so I'm diehard when it comes to that. But just watching what the front office did the first couple of years trying to speed track this, and then finally realizing you can't speed what they're doing right now, it's been refreshing to kind of see it. And you mentioned a little bit about how young this team is. I think the Panther fan base, especially online, like Twitter and all that nonsense, they kind of forget how young this roster really truly is. We're not supposed to be here. Like, we're not supposed to be fighting for this. If Tampa hadn't, fall off a cliff, we wouldn't even be having this conversation. Like, they wouldn't even be contending for the NFC South. But Tampa kind of opened the door. Well, not kind of. They opened the door for us to even be here. So I'm very grateful that we can have meaningful football conversation instead of talking about the draft in December, which is what we're usually doing. Like, what quarterback are we going to get to? So I mean, I don't know. So when you were talking about that in that 2005 playoff run, I do remember very distinctly, because that was the playoff run where we ran our running backs. Like, by the time
that's where Nick Goins was concussed, and he was in a concussion. We didn't even have protocol back then, man. That dude was just. He was locked in his room for like 2-3 months, right? He had to. It was a major concern. It was a major concern for Nick, and he had ended up staying in Seattle. We left him, stayed in Seattle overnight for a couple of days.
Yeah,
right. So right, we had Drew. We had Drew from Ohio State. We had drafted him. He had his AC. He had tore his ACs. So there's just, my point is, even when you go back and you remember the most meaningful, successful seasons for whatever your team is, go back and look in detail at the players. Go look at the role players, right? The Gerard Coopers, the He Hate Me's. Reggie Howards, Ricky Mannings, Deion Grant, Terry Cousins.
Dan Morgan was on that team.
Man, Demo, who had like 5 million tackles in the Super Bowl. Brenson Buckner. Al Wallace, who was traded while he was with the Miami Dolphins, and Miami Dolphins like basically discarded him. So I think he was a principal or school teacher at the time, right? My point is when you got to look at rosters and really understand. And I think over the last couple of years that I've started to do the broadcasting and started to really take in how teams evaluate and situationally and look at things and how teams are like teams today, right now, teams are starting to evaluate and get their list together of what free agents they're going to look to acquire, and the scouts are doing their evaluations on what type of player we need, what type of player this possible new free agency can bring. So it's so many things that go on for a team that at the end of the day, you got a whole bunch of men with heartbeats who all have opinions, and then you're acquiring or drafting players that you really don't know how good or how bad they will be until you get them in the locker room, on the field, and you start to see their behavioral habits to really know what you have and can you really depend on.
Yeah, like what you're talking about here is the glue. Right. We all been a part of teams where there's been glue that keeps the core nucleus intact. And I think that, what Dan's going to have to figure out going forward, he's done a great job of, acquiring certain guys this offseason, his first year, and getting football guys, but not just the best players that are out there, but the best players for this actual team. Right. Yeah. And you can see that with the receiving core that, has kind of come together with Jalen Coker going out there to get T-Mac and getting targets that are, friendly targets to a Bryce Young, right? Taller guys that can go get the ball up high, all those types of things, right? And so across the board, I think he's looking at this roster and that light. And I think where we're at now, Steve, the core of which makes this team go, right? At what point in the game when you're watching the Panthers, what is that core like? What does that core look like? What is happening in the course of the game? First quarter, first drive on offense, first drive for the defense. What are elements of this team that show up when they're going to have success?
Well, I'm looking at my notes, and I always, when I do my notes, always handwrite my notes. I'm just you know me, I'm old school. So I handwrite my notes. Got 9.
You also got that you got that electronic pad still with the.
Yeah. I got that. I still got that one. My Remarkable.
Yeah, the Remarkable. I got one of those too because of you.
Yeah, I love that. But I use my notepad when I'm sitting there watching the games, man. And I think the biggest thing with the Carolina Panthers, when you look at games, right, it's the tale of the tape, and it's also the tale of the halves. When this team is firing all cylinders, they're not slow offensively. I Bleav that everything relies on the offense currently right now. I think the defense obviously is incomplete, right? They're missing some areas that they will improve on this offseason. That's just a fact, because the defensively, man, Dan Moore knows exactly what he's looking for and knows what he wants. But it's when it's a slow start, man.
Yeah.
When you have slow starts, right? And what I mean by slow starts, I'm talking about in the first half. I'm talking about where, and you only Bryce's, right? You haven't gotten your guy T-Mac. He gets his first catch is 1minute and 54 seconds left in the first half, right? On a big 4th down conversion. Well, that's not T-Mac's fault. However, there is a philosophy and understanding. You got to get your playmakers active. You're not gonna not run the football for 2.5 quarters.
Yeah.
Right. And Stewie, the running game mirrors the pass mirrors the run, but you got to be able to do both efficiently. And I just think with this team, because they're young, they sometimes have some slow starts.
Is that because of Canales and him kind of being the play caller? Because this is really the first time he's been a play caller anywhere, and he's kind of watching him learn on the fly too.
No, he was a play caller in Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, he was the play caller in Tampa Bay. That's what got him the job.
But I think maybe like head coaching and calling plays is a whole different beast as well. Especially so there's probably a growth that happens that has happened with that as well.
But he does call plays differently from. I mean, if you look at the way we were playing in September and the way he was calling stuff to the way we are now, I will say Canales has learned to adjust. He has adapted to almost game to game, where like we didn't run the ball enough week 1 or whatever. By week 2, he's kind of tried to mix it. He's learned from his mistakes. He's not stubborn. It doesn't feel like he's
and it is and play calling is game to game, right? It's you playing different teams every game, so you
different schematics. You're playing different teams where they have different great attributes. So you can't have the same game plan for the Rams that you would have for the New Orleans Saints.
So because I know we're running out of time with you here, what would be your main focus against Tampa on Sunday if you were on the coaching staff? What's the main thing we need to stop or we need to disrupt in order for us to be able to have a great day against the Bucs? Because they're
disrupt for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Disrupt the on schedule throws.
Yeah.
Right. Because here's the on schedule throws: Emeka Egbuka, trouble. Mike. That man is back, Mike Evans.
Yes, he is.
That boy.
Right. And then Chris Godwin, he got his football legs back. So, he's firing all cylinders. So you can say whatever you want to say about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but they're getting healthy offensively at the right time.
So let us be their get right game. That's what's going to happen. Right?
Nah, man, we can't let that happen. We got to get them D linemen all up in that backfield, dog.
Yeah. According to the way we've been playing, we should be scheduled for a great game because the way we've been going with the A-Day, B-Day stuff. I mean,
we're supposed to win this game because we lost this last game. So we're
going to come out on all cylinders.
Okay, I hear you, Harold.
Real quick, before we get you out, something I was telling Stu that I wanted to do with you because I do usually our midweek show, we kind of go around the league real quick and get out of the Panthers and kind of talk about other spots. Some injuries happened over the course of this past Sunday, and some teams fell out of contention this past Sunday. Yeah. And I wanted to play open close window with you, where basically you and Stu are going to. I'm going to give you a name of a team. You're going to tell me whether or not their window is open or closed in terms of being a contender.
Okay.
So starting off, Stu's favorite, America's team, the Dallas Cowboys, eliminated from the playoffs. Well, technically they're eliminated from the wild card thing. The only way they can get in is if the Eagles lose out and the Cowboys win out and win the NFC East.
That's a possibility.
It's still a possibility, but is it open or closed window for Dak and the boys down in Dallas?
You talking about for this year, or are you just talking about overall?
In general, like going forward, like with this group?
Going forward, I think it's open still. They got Deron Blaine. He's playing out of his mind. They obviously are going to make some key decisions on Diggs that I think me and Stewie already know what decisions are going to be made there. When you got a head coach saying, hey, he needs better practice habits, you got the owner / general manager saying that he's not healthy enough, and then you have the player saying that he's adamant about playing and he's healthy. That is two people or three people who the player is reading what is written on the walls, and he's trying to make sure he could play so he could be auditioning for his next team, because the last time he was on tape, it didn't always go well. Right. So I think it's open because of the draft. I mean, the trades that they made, the draft picks that they have. They got some areas that they've gotten better and they've improved on dramatically, right? Logan Wilson, the linebacker, and they got Quinton Williams. Quincy is his brother. I apologize. So it's just a ton of things. And Dak, I mean, outside of Dallas Cowboys losing, Dak has been playing excellent football. I don't know what y'all watching. Yeah, I mean, Dak is out there dropping dimes after dimes after dimes. I mean, it's been crazy.
Let me squeeze this one more in before you got to get out. Kansas City, Pat Mahomes torn ACL. I don't know how long it'll take them to get back. They've been in the Super Bowl it feels like the past 8 years in a row. It feels like, but open or closed window for this group, Kansas City.
So haters are going to say it's closing and it's about time. Here's what you got to understand. The Kansas City Chiefs are a really smart football team. And they are going to be ready to retool, to get back. Because their quarterback, whether Patrick Mahomes takes 6 months, 9 months, or 18 months, you're going to have to find a replacement for Travis Kelce. You need some wide receivers on the outside of Worthy and Rashid Rice. Juju Smith-Schuster, Thornton is going to be hitting free agency, and Hollywood Brown. I'm not saying the top, first round pick, but I'm saying in the third and fourth rounds. And then they also have Jalen Royal. He's from Utah State. I did a breakdown on him. He's really good. He's getting familiar. He has to lose a little bit of weight based on how Andy Reid's practice. Right? He's had some twinges. He's also has some flashes that he could be the guy to step up. But they're gonna retool. They got to get some. I believe they got to get some corners. Nick Bolton is playing well, but I think having a running mate with him would be good. Tranquil's balling. I think they secondary wise they're there, and I think they need to figure out some more pass rushers, because you can't continue to keep relying on Chris Jones, because teams do a lot to slow him down.
Yeah, you got offensive coordinators, defensive coordinators out there that are every year going back to the drawing board.
Yep.
Figuring out ways to stop the guy that ruined their chances of winning games, right? But I think what we're going to see from the Chiefs, I'm right there with you, Smitty. I don't think they're out of it completely. Mm-hmm. I think especially under Andy Reid, right? As long as Andy Reid is there, it might be a year off. It might be a year or two, right? Depending, because there's a lot of
Andy's starting to get antsy, and he knows this is getting
so maybe we call it a year, right?
Yeah, well, here's the problem that people don't like to say.
Mm-hmm.
Kansas City they're just a team right now.
Yeah,
they've been riding on fumes the past 2 years, really.
Right,
like,
they're jacked.
No, I'm just saying that they're a regular team. They're a regular team right now.
Yeah,
that fans been hoping for. They're like, yes, no Patrick Mahomes.
Nobody's scared of him.
That's just 1 year.
Yeah,
it's crazy too. And I know we got to get Steve out here, but it's crazy the parallels with Mahomes and Tom Brady. They both tore their ACLs in year 9 of their careers after winning 3 Super Bowls in their first 4 seasons. And we've been comparing them to the Patriots in that dynasty, where I was like, maybe this is the part of the dynasty where they don't get to the Super Bowl for 9 years, and then they go back for another 3 out of 4 like Tom Brady did. So who knows? But I know we got to get Steve out. He's got to go do his pod. Appreciate you coming through, brother, and definitely need to get you back on again, because I actually had a couple more teams I wanted to pick your brain on for that Around the League segment. But we'll definitely try to swing you back in. And hopefully we got playoff football to discuss in January, so we can bring you back on and talk about the Panthers ruining the dreams of some other city somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. Stu just got to hit me up, and then I'll do that easily, just because on my Pod 89 show that's where, like, when the playoffs start, man, I go in my bag and I start doing my evaluations on receivers. I got
yes,
I got 30 receivers I got to do write-ups on. So
definitely check it out.
Yeah, make sure you guys check out Steve's pod. Everything that Steve doing right now is turning into gold, ladies and gentlemen. So
yes, sir.
Appreciate you, big bro, for hopping on. And
yes, sir.
Keep pounding. Go Panthers. Love you, big dog.
All right, love you too, man.